Did you know the dark origins of our favorite Halloween monsters? Every October, we see them everywhere. Vampires, werewolves, zombies, adorning our lawns and inspiring our costumes. But behind the plastic masks and spooky decorations lie centuries of folklore, fear, and fascinating history. These creatures weren't just invented for scary movies. They sprang from the deepest anxieties of ancient cultures. So, turn down the lights, get comfortable, and let's unmask the terrifying tales that gave birth to the icons of Halloween. We're about to explore the true, and often grim, origins of the monsters that haunt our nightmares. Let's begin with one of the most iconic, the vampire. Long before the charming, sparkling vampires of modern fiction, the original vampire was a grotesque, bloated corpse that crawled from its grave to feed on the living, often starting with its own family. These beliefs likely stemmed from a misunderstanding of the natural process of decomposition. When bodies were exhumed during times of plague, people saw what they thought was evidence of undeath: bloating from gas, blood-like fluid at the mouth, and hair and nails that appeared to have grown. To stop them, they would stake the corpse to the ground, decapitate it, or burn it. The famous Dracula was inspired by Vlad the Impaler, a real 15th century Romanian ruler, known for his extreme cruelty, but the folklore of the blood-sucking undead is far, far older. Next, let's howl at the moon with the werewolf. The fear of turning into a beast is ancient, with one of the earliest tales coming from Greek mythology. The story of King Lycaon, who was cursed by Zeus to become a wolf after serving him a gruesome meal, set the stage for centuries of werewolf lore. During the Middle Ages, werewolf panics swept across Europe, much like the witch trials. People accused of lycanthropy were often outcasts or individuals suffering from mental illness. Some werewolves were actually just criminals who used wolfskins as a disguise. The belief was so strong that people genuinely thought a pact with the devil or a magic ointment could trigger the transformation. The full moon association we know today is actually a more modern addition, popularized by Hollywood films. Now, let's shuffle over to the zombie. The modern brain-eating zombie is a creation of George A. Romero's 1968 film, Night of the Living Dead. But the original zombie has its roots in Haitian Vodou folklore. In these traditions, a zombie is not a flesh-eating monster, but a person brought back from the dead by a sorcerer known as a bokor. This person is left without free will, forced to serve their master as a mindless slave. It's believed that this concept arose from the very real fears of slavery and loss of autonomy. The process was said to involve powerful toxins, like those from a pufferfish, which could induce a death-like state, allowing the victim to be buried and later revived into a state of hypnotic servitude. It's a terrifying thought, not being eaten, but losing your very soul. From zombies, we descend to a lesser-known but equally horrifying creature, the ghoul. Originating from pre-Islamic Arabian folklore, ghouls were desert-dwelling demons that could shapeshift, often taking the form of a hyena. Their true horror, however, lay in their diet. Ghouls were said to lure travelers off their paths, kill them, and then feast on their flesh. They were also known as grave robbers, digging up fresh corpses to satisfy their insatiable hunger. Unlike zombies, ghouls were always malevolent, intelligent beings, driven by a wicked desire for human meat. The concept was later absorbed into stories like 1001 Nights, cementing the ghoul as a quintessential creature of the graveyard. Let's unwrap our next monster, the mummy. The fear of ancient Egyptian mummies coming back to life is a relatively modern invention, sparked by a phenomenon called Egyptomania in the 19th and early 20th centuries. When Western archaeologists began opening ancient tombs, like that of King Tutankhamun in 1922, a series of mysterious deaths among the excavation team led to the popular idea of a pharaoh's curse. The media went wild with stories of vengeful spirits protecting their resting places. In reality, the deaths were likely caused by exposure to dormant, toxic molds inside the sealed tombs. But the idea of an ancient bandaged king imbued with forgotten magic and seeking revenge on those who disturbed his slumber, was too good for Hollywood to pass up, creating the shambling, cursed mummy we know today. Now for a classic, The Witch. Before the green-skinned, pointy-hatted figure of popular culture, the concept of a witch was a source of real-world terror. For centuries, witches were believed to be individuals, mostly women, who made a pact with the devil in exchange for supernatural powers. They were blamed for everything from failed crops and sick livestock to plagues and storms. This led to the infamous witch hunts that swept across Europe and America, resulting in the persecution and execution of tens of thousands of innocent people. The classic image of a witch with a cauldron, broomstick, and black cat comes from a mix of pagan traditions, Christian demonology, and pure fabrication used to justify the brutal trials. From witches who consort with demons, let's talk about demons themselves. Nearly every culture and religion has its own version of a malevolent supernatural entity. In many traditions, demons are fallen angels who rebelled against a higher power. They are seen as tempters, aiming to lead humanity astray and cause suffering. The appearance of demons in folklore is incredibly varied, from the horned, red-skinned devil of Christian iconography to invisible spirits that possess people or cause misfortune. The core idea behind demons represents our struggle with evil, temptation, and the unexplainable chaos in the world. They are the ultimate personification of our inner and outer darkness. Let's ride on to the Headless Horseman. While many cultures have tales of headless ghosts, the most famous is from Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. The story's horseman is the ghost of a Hessian soldier whose head was blown off by a cannonball during the American Revolutionary War. He is said to rise from his grave each night, searching for his lost head. This character draws from older European folklore, particularly German and Irish tales of headless riders, who are seen as omens of death. Irving masterfully blended these ancient fears with a specific American setting, creating a uniquely terrifying legend that continues to spook us every Halloween. Next, we face the Grim Reaper. The personification of death as a skeletal figure in a black cloak, wielding a scythe, is a surprisingly recent image. It became widespread during the 14th century in Europe, a direct result of the Black Death. With the plague wiping out a huge portion of the population, death was an ever-present reality. Art from the period began depicting death as an active force, a reaper, harvesting souls like a farmer harvests wheat. The skeleton represents the decay of the body, the cloak signifies mourning, and the scythe is a tool for the great harvest of life. The Grim Reaper isn't necessarily evil. He is simply an unstoppable, impartial force of nature. What about the mischievous goblin? Goblins are small, grotesque creatures from European folklore, known for their greed and malicious trickery. Their origins are murky, but they are often seen as a darker, more malevolent version of fairies or brownies. While some were merely pranksters who might sour milk or hide tools, others were genuinely dangerous, known for stealing children or hoarding gold. Their ugly appearance was often seen as a reflection of their wicked nature. The term goblin became a catch-all for various small, monstrous humanoids across different mythologies, embodying our fear of the small, unseen troubles that can disrupt our lives. From a mischievous goblin to a wailing spirit. The Banshee. In Irish folklore, the Banshee is a female spirit whose mournful cry, or keening, foretells a death in a family. She isn't a creature that kills, but rather a harbinger of doom. She is typically associated with specific ancient Irish families, acting as a supernatural messenger. Her appearance varies in stories. She can be a beautiful young woman, a stately matron, or a frightening old hag with a face streaked with tears. Hearing her cry is a terrifying experience, as it means a loved one is about to pass. The Banshee represents the deep cultural importance of mourning and the inescapable reality of loss. Finally, let's venture into the frozen forests of North America to meet the Wendigo. Originating from the folklore of Algonquian-speaking peoples, the Wendigo is a terrifying, malevolent spirit associated with winter, starvation, and cannibalism. According to legend, a person can become a Wendigo by resorting to eating human flesh to survive. Once transformed, they are cursed with an insatiable hunger for it, growing larger with every person they consume, yet never feeling full. The Wendigo is a tall, emaciated creature with a heart of ice. It serves as a powerful cautionary tale, a cultural taboo against cannibalism, and a personification of the brutal hardships of surviving a harsh winter. From ancient curses to real-world tragedies, these monsters are so much more than just Halloween costumes. They are windows into the history of human fear. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the dark origins of these creatures. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more spooky content. Let me know in the comments which monster's origin story you found the most terrifying. Stay safe and have a happy Halloween.